So, what are your options if you have shading on various parts of your array during different times of the year? Well, if you're running a DC string inverter, I think the best option is probably going ahead and buying a DC optimizer. So these work really well because they take the wattages from the individual panels and add them to the string total, as opposed to a normal string that will take all of your panels and ramp them down to the lowest production panel in your string. What does that actually look like in practice though? Well, let's say that you had an array that was 500 watt panels, and 4 of those were making 500 watts. Unfortunately, the 5th panel had shading on it from a tree or literally whatever your source is, and it was only making 250 watts. What does that do to the total wattage of that string? Well, unfortunately, it will take all of these panels that could have been making 500 watts and reduce their output down to the lowest wattage on the string. In this instance, that would be 250 watts. So that takes your total wattage down to 1250 watts. Now, let's take the same array, but add DC optimizers to each individual panel. Now, all of these panels that were making 500 watts are still making 500 watts, and the panel that's making 250 watts merely gets added to the total string wattage. So what does that look like? Well, we've gone up from 1250 watts to 2250 watts, which is a very noticeable and significant increase in wattage. Now, that all sounds great, but the real question is, does it work? So let's flip this panel array around and make it mirror what my actual array looks like. My solar pergola is made up of 10 460 watt panels, 2 rows of 5, for a total output of 4600 watts, but the usual peak that I see is only around 4500 watts. Starting in November and worsening until the winter solstice, I get progressively more and more shading on the bottom part of the bottom row of panels. So this gets even worse as the afternoon leads on, as originally it's just the bottom portions here that shade, but in the afternoon the peak of the house actually starts shading in a diagonal across these panels. That meant that this panel was producing only what was available from bifacial gain. That means that throttled the entire array down to whatever wattage this panel was making. Prior to the DC optimizers, this very nearly cut all power production on this array by 2 to 3 p.m. Now guys, I do apologize for the graininess of the image, but this is the only image that I still had of what my solar output looked like prior to installing the DC optimizers. So you can see that it didn't even create enough voltage early in the morning to actually kick on the MPPT and start producing power. Then once it did, it was a very slow ramp up and much slower and not as even as my second array at the time. Then we had the least amount of shading that usually occurred during the day, and it would quickly drop off back to around 2000 watts. That would hang out until a little after 2 p.m., and then it would literally fall off a cliff as that diagonal angle of the sun swung around and covered the remaining solar panel on the bottom right-hand corner. Now, let's take a look at how that compares to a DC optimized setup. Well, right away you should notice that I get an earlier cut-in voltage, and the curvature actually more closely matches what I would expect from a regular array. There isn't this odd 1-per-1 increase. It's more of a natural curve. In addition to this, we make a lot more peak power than we were making before, and we hold it for a much longer period of time. In addition, I don't immediately throttle all output at around 2 p.m. So overall, I'm making substantially more power on full sun days as well as any other day. So just how much more power was I making? Well, on sunny days, 50% more. I went from producing around 10 kilowatt hours on most sunny days, all the way up to 15 after the DC optimizers were installed. So how does that compare year over year for November, December, and January? Well, you can see that every month it actually outperformed the prior years, but November and December in year one were very high solar yield months. I actually didn't come close to those in the following year. So I think a lot of this is depressed a little bit from what it would be, but even if I take the numbers at face value, I still generated another 170 kilowatt hours in year 2 versus year 1 with the DC optimizers. What would that look like if these 2 months more closely mirrored the January totals, which had much more similar solar output days? That would be much closer to the 50% increase that I see on my peak production on sunny days. That means this number is probably somewhere more realistic between 200 and 300 kilowatt hours, which is pretty good. The good news is that this produces pour power throughout the entire year, not just during the 3 months that I got shading. So if one panel is dirty or one panel is just a slightly higher producer than the panels around it, it has the exact same effect. It just adds the wattages of the entire string together and makes sure that basically you always get the most amount of power you possibly could from a single array. Another benefit here is you don't actually have to put them on all of the panels. You can literally just put them on the ones that you think will get shade or that you know are going to be problematic panels and not on other ones. Technically, for my installation, I could have just put them on the bottom 5 panels, but I'm an energy nerd, so I basically wanted to generate as much power as I possibly could at all times. Guys, if you like this video so far, if you could, go ahead and hit that like button. Installation's pretty easy as well. They're designed to clip directly onto the frame of a solar panel and have 2 short leads that will accept the inputs on your MC4s from your panels and 2 long leads that string all the DC optimizers together. The only problem with the whole package is they do require a little more cable management. So another cool feature here is you can actually buy a kit that allows you to have individual panel level monitoring as well as rapid shutdown capabilities. So if you're doing these on a roof, you may actually need to have the rapid shutdown abilities anyway just to be compliant if you intend to backfeed the grid. If not, this actually works without them in the system, but Tigo technically says that you should be using the monitoring software and not just having the panels by themselves. In addition to all of that, these things are rated up to 725 watts of power output. That's like a 600 watt bifacial panel at full power with full bifacial gain. Try finding microinverters that'll do something like that. So what's the drawback here then? Really, I think it just comes down to cost. By the time you bought 10 of these and the monitoring kit, you're about $1,000 into this. And though that may not seem too expensive, honestly, if you had just put that towards more panels, you might end up making more power over the course of the year. However, if you're space limited or just tired of always building new arrays, I think this is really a pretty good option. So curious what your all's thoughts are. Would you pay this much for this system? I actually really like it, and it seems to work really well for what it is. In addition to that, I hope that I covered everything that you had from a question standpoint. But if I didn't, always feel free to go ahead and leave a comment. I do my very best to answer everything that comes through the comment section. So if there's anything that you just want a point of clarification for or anything like that, don't hesitate. As always, thanks a bunch for watching. Everyone's time is important, and I'm glad you guys watched the video. I hope you liked it. And if you're interested in the rest of my solar build, I'll go ahead and drop that link at the end of this video. So until the next time, see you guys.